Hi, I'm Jim Schooley, and this week on Cultural Connection, I'm with Arts on Grand's new display of the Vermeer glass. Well, congratulations on this show. You're an artist couple, Jim and Julie Vermeer, and residents of Spencer at one time.
Yeah, we lived here over 20 years ago, and actually we're a resident for 19 years. And about 20 years ago, of course, career took us away from the community, but we're looking for an opportunity to move back to the community in a couple of years. So
cool. Well, I hope people are able to provide some assistance with that. But
yeah.
We love having professional artists in town, and the more the merrier. So, as far as our task today is highlighting the kind of work that you do, obviously, and hanging on the walls and sitting around is just every kind of glass one could expect. So, it's a very impressive show, and you work as a duo.
Mm-hmm. We do.
So.
And actually, I started into the glass about 14 years ago. Worked in the torch, and I seen at a trade show that I was at, I seen somebody making figurines in the torch, and they call lamp working, and that really intrigued me, and my wife encouraged me to take a 3-day class up in Minneapolis and at an artist, and really got hooked on it.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years, I experimented with fusing, or what they call kiln form, and really got hooked on it. And then I said to Julie, so you have to try this. So she tried it, and she got hooked on it. So I would say over the last 10 years especially, we really matured in our art compared to what we did when we first got started. And there's different techniques and different types of glass, and different temperatures to come up with a different effect. So there's a lot of our pieces are fully fused, and then some are what they call tacked fused. Mm-hmm. Julie does most of the landscaping, well, I would say all the landscaping pieces, and all of that is what they call tack fused to give it a texture and depth.
Just kind of melted on.
Yeah, it's a lot of layers of powders and crushed up glass, kind of painting with glass. I kind of dabbled in painting before I was doing glass, and so this kind of gives me a different way to paint.
You're only limited by the size of your kiln, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I can see about what size kiln you have, and looks like it's about 2 by 2 inside there.
Well, we have one kiln that's it's 24 inches square, and then we have another kiln that is 27 by 41.
Wow.
Is the shelf. So the panels on the Tree of Life, we actually made one that was 36 by 66. And so each of those panels were 36 inches long, and that's really why we bought the larger kiln, so we could do much larger pieces.
Sure. So now when you do like a set of 3, separated items like that, are you firing those all at once?
No. Each one is
One
fired
at a time.
separately, and because there's the thickness of the glass, with the kiln you have to ramp it up slow.
Sure.
Otherwise you fracture the glass.
Sure.
And so ramp it up slow, and you ramp it down slow. You cool it down slow. So everybody asks, the temperatures, with our fully fused pieces like the diachroic over there, those go up to 1460 degrees. Our tack fuse goes to
1320
Yeah.
is probably an average. But actually the tacked fuse has to be, because of all the layers, you have to ramp it up a lot slower and cool it down a lot slower. So they spend about 36 hours in the kiln. From
Well, the
start to
better you
finish.
get, the less disasters you have.
Right.
You have a percentage on that as to how many pieces don't make it out?
Well, when we first started, that's where you learn by your mistakes, right? So I don't think we have a lot of disasters, but we try to salvage.
Yep.
There's always a way
Sure,
to salvage a piece.
It's glass.
It's glass, yeah. So there's a piece right there, the diachroic, you know, it's really thick, those three, you know, it's really thick. Well, actually there's a big bubble in it, and I cut out the diachroic and refired it and,
Really?
and salvaged it. So,
Really?
so there's different ways you can salvage things,
Neat. Really neat.
but we try to, you know, Julie tries to put it in the kiln once, which is, you know, with texture or with tack fuse, every time you put it in, it melts in a little bit more and a
Sure.
little bit more. So you try to keep it from melting
Reaching
in.
critical mass
Right.
at some point. Well, I imagine you go through a lot of glass cutters too, don't you?
Oh yeah, we have grinders and we have cutters and we have
You know, the
we have a
bandsaw.
sander and we have a sandblaster and we have a lot.
Takes
of
a lot.
equipment, yeah.
Well, that's the way it is, I think, with just about any art form, is that you choose something because, you know, at first glance it seems simple, but then 10 years later you realize that, you know, it takes this huge investment with all these fancy tools.
Mhm.
Well, and every time you learn a new technique,
You know, you're buying
you're
something.
buying something different to go
supplies,
along
what
with
have
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's exciting stuff. I just, you know, the way that it captures the light and, you know, just the energy. There's a lot of really beautiful stuff
Yeah,
with,
thank you.
you know, some of it's more geometric, you know,
Mhm.
and I would imagine that's Jim's
Mhm.
work. And then, you know, you're doing the landscapes. And
Yeah.
so this is, you know, it's an art form that, you know, with the two of you working together, it
Mhm.
really produces a lot of varied results. So
Yeah.
it's just about anything that somebody would want, you could
Mhm.
find in here. I think it's really varied. So,
We always like to say that our theme is color, and so people walk into our booth when we're at an art festival, and we hear the wows and a lot of color is
Yeah.
what is attracting to them.
well, you're using a lot of rich, vibrant color.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously
Right.
there's any shade you want,
Right.
but you choose to go with more
Yep.
lively
Yep.
looking stuff.
Yeah, so we tell people that we feel there's a color for everyone in our work. So we do about 13 art festivals a year. They're juried.
Mhm.
Tend to do better at juried art festivals, and so we travel within about 5 hours of home, so that, you know, so we spend a lot of weekends during the summer going to art festivals.
So, what part of the country appreciates you best?
You know, it kind of changes over time. To be honest with you, the college towns
Yep.
have been very kind to us. So Iowa City, Ames, you know,
Yep.
going to even Sioux City, Minneapolis. We go to Minneapolis. We've been as far as Duluth and Fargo. This past year, we had 3 shows in Omaha. We were showing at a gallery in Omaha, one in Des Moines right now. We have our work in Des Moines. So
Well, it's wonderful stuff. Does every item come with its own crate for safe transfer?
We use a lot of totes, but our big pieces we do
Have their own
crate
crate.
up.
You know, a lot of packing material
yeah.
here.
a lot of
Yes.
bubble wrap.
Yes.
A lot of bubble wrap. So.
Well, you know, it's important to, you know, it keeps good things safe. You know?
Yep.
Well, now, how many items do you have in the show? Do you know offhand?
Ooh, do you know?
It's like 40?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
good sized show.
Yeah, and you know, we have a variety of things and price points. You know, and you know, a coaster somewhere around $45-$50 to Tree of Life at $2,500. So
Sure.
there's a price point in between.
Sure.
And so there's a piece for everyone and a price point for everyone. So
Well, it's wonderful stuff. I think we've had your work here in the gift gallery or what have you off and on. And so I'd seen your work starting earlier, and then I've seen it progress. That's great. And you know, as usual, there's plenty here for people to choose from if they
Yeah.
need a gift or something that you know, is going to take place of that college print they still have or
Yeah.
something. So
and everything's for sale. So I've
Yeah.
been asked that. You know, it's an exhibition, but there's a price, and if somebody really wants something, you can take it with them. So
sometimes you need a really nice wedding gift.
yeah, absolutely.
This would be unique.
Yep.
Yep.
And we've always welcomed custom orders also.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
What would be the length of time that it might take to do a custom work?
that depends on the item.
Mhm.
Our Tree of Life actually started as a custom order. Somebody from our area lives on a street called, or a road called Lone Tree Road, and they wanted a single tree with 4 seasons. And so we came up with this design. We've created this one probably about 12 different times,
Yeah.
including the different sizes that we've done it in, but each one is unique.
Cool.
And if somebody would order that, they'd be able to customize different things into the piece that they wanted to. So it usually takes about a month to recreate that size.
Okay. So,
But a smaller, like tabletop display, you know, we could create that within a week. I started creating what they call award art. So instead of, you know, the plexiglass engraved piece, started to market our work for different organizations. And so, you know, it's a piece that they can display in their office or in their home. So after a year, you know, instead of sticking it in the closet because it's outdated or whatever, now they can take, you know, the brass plaque off of it if that's what they want, and they can display it in their home.
well, it's really versatile, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that, you know, just like, you know, painting, you know, it's not limited in any way, you know. If
Right.
somebody has something specific, it's just got to be pretty cool to see how it turns out,
Yeah.
and they're going to be happy.
Yep. Yep.
So, not ashtray work, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure interviewing you and having you arrive here with your work for the gallery.
You bet. And, you know, we really appreciate Arts on Grand for the show. Been very helpful, and we appreciate the partnership with them. So,
Well, I take it that everything was hung safely.
oh yes, absolutely, no breakage. So,
Well, that's great, and it's been my pleasure to bring an interview for you with the Vermeers here at Arts on Grand. And this show will be here for roughly a month. I wouldn't wait too long to come in. You may find that some of the pieces are already gone. So I'm sure that you'll want a few yourself. And I'm Jim Schooley. This has been Cultural Connection. And until next week, keep it cool, Spencer.